What's up, everybody? Inksmith back again, hitting up another OG set of YouTubers, and that is the beloved Fine Brothers, or should I say, the begrudging Fine Brothers. Now, Fine Brothers are also known as FBE, which is Fine Brothers Entertainment, and to be quite frank, after researching this, I already knew they were a bit of a scumbag group because of what they had done in the past with the React World channel. But lo and behold, it turns out they're way worse than you thought they were, with allegations of doing blackface in the past, with having been racist, and also abusing their employees, and not taking any of the criticism and just simply saying, oops, we're sorry, we did a boo-boo, we made an oopsie, and pushing it all under the rug, putting a new CEO in charge of FBE, and trying to hide under the covers and pretend like no big bad things have ever been done in their past. Let's take a look at React Media, aka Fine Brothers Entertainment, an American media company founded by Benny Fine and Rafi Fine, creators and media entrepreneurs. React Media produces the React video series and their several timed spoilered series, as well as narrative web series, and created a transmedia sitcom on YouTube known as My Music. Now, they're most well known for their whatever reacts to whatever, okay? Leaving all those blank, it's something like, young kids react to all the death scenes in Rewind, or babies react to a Serbian film. Well, they probably haven't made those videos yet, but look for them in the future. I'm sure they're on the way. The Fine Brothers have been creating content since 2003, and React Media has many large digital channels on various social media platforms. The company's YouTube channel include React, FBE Official, and People vs. Food. The company also produces channels on Facebook like Do They Know It?, What Would My Kid Do?, and Reverse Ratings. React has sold multiple television series as well, such as F the Prom, which was a movie that was made for TV, and it should be called It's a Bomb, not F the Prom, because it was a super bad movie. These guys have zero talent when it comes to making movies. Yeah, they might have blown up big when it came to YouTube, but as is usually the case, when a YouTuber tries to bust out with a movie, it doesn't usually do too well, and the Fine Brothers are a fine example of that. FBE has over 8 billion views and 32 million subscribers, but nowadays they get only a couple 100,000 views because pretty much what they do, the React channel series in which they have people come on and react, has really garnered no kind of connection between fans of today's YouTube compared to what used to be in the past. In the past, when they created their videos, their production quality was ahead of its time. Back in 2006, when everybody just started making a webcam video that was at, 230 pixels and looked like garbage, they were already using iMovies and adding all different types of titles and stuff like that. So that gave them a little more props as far as how good their video came across. Over time, they started to have different ages and different groups come on and comment and react to different things that were very popular at the time. And while this worked out back at the very early beginning days of YouTube, it does not really work out that much anymore because people form a relationship with the creator. And if you constantly have a random cast come on that is rotated through with people you never connect with and don't know who they even are, you don't connect with them as a viewer, and that's what people are searching for these days. Most times when there is a React channel, the thing that people connect with is who the reactor is, their personality. It's kind of like you both watch a show together, and like buds talking about some favorite TV program or situational comedy that you both really liked and thought one part or some situation was very cool, funny, exciting, violent, whatever. Can't really do that with React channel because it's just random kids, random old people, and random who knows it, who watches it, who does it type of situation. It doesn't translate well into YouTube as of 2022. which is going to date this video, but who cares? Let's move on. Early life and career. The Fine brothers grew up in the 1990s as an Orthodox Jewish family in Brooklyn. The Fine brothers stated that they had been making videos almost their entire life, Benny being the elder brother who would rope his younger brother Rafi into making all kinds of quote-unquote weird stuff. New York Magazine detailed the two started recording comedy sketches as adolescents. And that's, kind of hard to believe, as they really don't seem to have much talent when it comes to comedy. If you go back and watch their old stuff, it's blackface with Shane Dawson. Yeah, really funny guys. Ha ha ha. Would have been great back in like 1920s maybe. They spent most of their teen years in Sullivan County, New York. Benny started college at age 15, while Rafi attended Dickinson College for 2 years before transferring to Hunter College, where he got a degree in film studies. The two began entertaining their friends with short sketches and full-length comedies shot with action figures. Wow, cool. My kids also do that. They're like 8 and 9 years old, so you're about on that level after going through college. Great job, guys. You're the best. History of the company is as follows. The Fine brothers made their YouTube channel their full-time job in 2010. FBE, Fine Brothers Entertainment, found success on YouTube with their main channel, The Fine Brothers, and more than 19 million subscribers and 7.8 billion views later as of 2019. Their channel had been doing pretty well, but they had some controversy, and that's what we're going to talk about finally now. Now, the big controversy that would really take them out and make them the most unpopular brothers on YouTube would be the React World controversy. On January 26, 2016, FBE announced that they would license and trademark their existing React series and let creators create their own React content. In particular, FBE applied to trademark, among other terms, the word React. Now, before I go into a deeper conflict of what went on here, let me just say that trademark and going after a word with it is malicious. There's no other way to go about it. Trademarking the word means that any competition within a certain genre of selling point has to compete with trying to use the same word. So the only other time I've seen this done in history where it made sense was Toys R Us. The backwards R was something that they trademarked. That's one of the ones I've seen gotten away with where it made sense. And they did have a pretty good reason for doing that, because since they were toys and connected to children, they didn't want other people to connect that to something else like Sex R Us or Funerals R Us, okay? So that kind of makes sense in that situation. You don't want yourself to be taken as, oh, are you also part of Funerals R Us? Like, they don't want customers thinking that when they are connected to a children's sale point. Now, with React World, there was really only one reason for them going after this. They felt that their idea had been compromised and didn't seem to realize that they weren't the original creators of the React concept. On top of it, they decided, since other people were doing way better than them and continue to do way better than them with the content that they make, they would just take over the word and make sure that they could control every little bit of money any of those creators got. On February 1st, FBE stated they had rescinded all React World trademarks and trademark applications and discontinued their supposed easy to use and easy to access React World program that would allow everybody to be a creator like them. It was such a sleazy thing to do to begin with. It pretty much wanted to put a monopoly on the entire idea of reacting. And this is something YouTubers in general should never let slide. There should never be a word trademark, a style trademark, or anything put in an iron fist by any other YouTuber, even if they came up with it first, because everybody mimics something. Like, we've even found out with the React Brothers stuff, there was reactors way before they came around, so they didn't even invent it, but wanted to take a stranglehold on it. If other people do what you do and they do it better, so be it. Get better yourself or try a new genre of video. But to try and put a complete death grip on it so that no one else can use it and you can control all the money that swirls around it is not only tyrannical, but it cramps the style of any sort of expansion as far as creativity is concerned on the horizon of YouTube. Imagine if even something like Let's Play was trademarked. How many people would that knock off of YouTube because they could no longer make any money, or we'd have to go back to multi-channel networks where everyone would have to be under an umbrella just to receive a few bucks for doing all their hard work. If you don't remember those times, they were horrible. When people had to be under multi-channel networks, this is exactly what this situation is. And as we're about to find out, these Fine brothers are not so fine because they didn't even pay their own employees very well, would have constant racist remarks about their employees, would allow sexual harassment to go on in the office, would allow some of their employees to be stalked on the way to work, would be racist towards people of color that were their own employees, and not only that, they wouldn't even pay on time. So do you really think they would pay the creators underneath the umbrella of the React world? No, I don't think so. They came out, they did their little spiel about, oh, we're real sorry, we made a bad idea up, and we never really wanted to try and cramp anybody's style. We thought it was a good idea. Too bad we didn't think about the fact that everybody would notice we're a bunch of greedy thieves. Well, anyway, let's move on from React World. You probably already know about that whole controversy. Now let's move on to allegations of racial discrimination and job harassment. In June 2020, many former employees spoke out about their experiences working with Fine Brothers Entertainment, which included allegations of racism and sexism by people at the company. In January 2021, Insider published a report which contained allegations the company cultivated casual racism. One employee claimed that she was told at times that having a reactor with lighter skin on the left of video thumbnails, which was said to be where viewers would look at them the most, and it would more appeal to fans if they had lighter skinned people on their thumbnails. Disgusting behavior by the Fine brothers. Insider said that in 434 thumbnails that included one person of color and one white person, 238 of them, or 55%, had white people on the left side. People interviewed for the article alleged white people were favored to appear in the React videos. But wait, there's more. In a grainy 2009 video that resurfaced in June of 2020, Benny Fine appeared in blackface as a part of a Degrassi parody by Shane Dawson. Coming amid nationwide reckoning over racism and police brutality spurred by protests over the police killing of George Floyd, the brothers faced an avalanche of criticism for fans and staff. In the 2 weeks that followed, some of the company's longest-standing stars left the company. Here's one of their statements now.
That yes, I did make the decision to leave React along with some of my fellow cast members, and this is my second time leaving the channel. Normally, I would not discuss the circumstances surrounding my departure, but in this case, I do have to speak up, and there are some things that I do need to clarify. If you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you've probably seen my statement where I mentioned that it was recently brought to my attention that the brothers co-wrote and directed a series of videos in which one of them appeared in blackface. Now, when I found out about these, I was disgusted and I was hurt because I had literally just participated in a video on their channel where I was asked to share my story among many other Black reactors. Some of the people who brought these blackface videos to my attention were under the impression that I knew about these blackface videos and the fact that they didn't acknowledge them or apologize about them publicly before I participated in this Black Lives Matter video. And I'm here to clarify with you that that is not the case. I had no idea about these, and like I said, when I found out, I was just shocked. Because they hadn't acknowledged or publicly addressed or apologized for these videos up until last night, I felt that I was used for performative activism, and that does not sit right with me. I also mentioned in my statement that prior to this video being released, I sent an email to FBE asking for their support in whatever negativity or hate would come my way as a result of speaking out about my experience as a Black person again on the channel, and I received no response. The reason why I sent this email is because I have talked about my experience being a Black person in previous episodes, and there was one where I did get a lot of hate. I got a lot of death threats, and one death threat that I actually had to take seriously because the person knew my address. So I told the staff about this. I told them about the death threats. I told them about the hate that I was getting and the fact that I had to file a police report, and I still got no support. I had to handle everything on my own. 8 hours after I posted my statement on my social media, and well over 24 hours after emailing something really similar, letting FBE know that I was leaving, Benny and Rafi did post a statement on their social media. A few hours after this, in the middle of the night, I did receive an email from the CEO of FBE, who I've never met before. I still have not received an apology or anything from Benny and Rafi directly acknowledging this to me, addressing this towards me, and apologizing to me. I have not heard from them personally. The fact that they haven't felt the need to reach out to me or to apologize to me directly feels like a kick in the face, especially because of the fact that I started at FBE 8.5 years ago on the very first episode of Teens React. I started out when the channel was still in its infancy stages. The channel was not what it is right now. We literally filmed in their apartment, and I was not getting paid. I started with them from pretty early on in the channel. I do want to iterate that this whole situation is way more than blackface. The blackface is the tip of the iceberg. That said, blackface is America's most stereotypical form of racism. It is deeply rooted in racism starting centuries back. I will include a link down below where you can read more about the history of blackface. No matter what context blackface is done in, it is a racist act and is not acceptable. This whole thing is also about the fact that I have been ignored now and back when I had to deal with these death threats on my own. It's also about the fact that so many former staff members and cast members have bravely spoken out and reached out to me privately about how they were mistreated during their time at the company as people of color and or women, and other people who have witnessed their mistreatment. All of the reactors and staff from the beginning have helped build FBE to what it is now, and every single person at that company, whether they're in front of the camera, behind the camera, in corporate, whatever their position may be, they deserve to be seen and heard and respected and treated equally. There are so many awful things that I've heard from former staff members and cast members over the last 24 hours that shocked me, and this is why I'm speaking out. These are the reasons why I'm being vocal. In the Fine Brothers statement last night, all they talked about was the blackface. They didn't talk about these other things that the former staff members have been talking about publicly on Twitter and Instagram, and the other things that people have been telling me about privately. I want to make it clear that I'm not here to cancel anybody or anything. I'm all about accountability and progress, and I truly hope that the proposed changes in Benny and Rafi's statement last night are adhered to. I hope that they come to fruition, and I hope that they follow through with it, because actions do speak louder than words.
According to former members of Los Angeles-based company, the blackface video merely skimmed the surface. Insiders spoke with 26 former employees and contractors about their experiences of working with FBE between 2012 and June 2020, most before the company's public statements and some after. The alleged instances of racism and discrimination from some of the upper management, and said that behavior had been fostered by a toxic atmosphere non-stop at the company. The Fine Brothers' former employees said they were talented and creative, but micromanaged everything from the pitch meetings to the thumbnails on videos, seemingly reluctant to relinquish any control over anything that they've built. The management that was brought in appeared to act as yes men and nothing else. According to these employees, some said the dynamic perpetuated implicit biases against those of color. Neither Rafi nor Benny Fine responded to any requests that any newspapers had, asking them, were these allegations true? For comment on the allegations, they stayed silent the whole time and still have to this day. An FBE spokesman said on the brothers' behalf that they shared their feelings during multiple full-time staff meetings and apologized. So pretty much the same canned answer that a lot of companies give in these bad situations. But one thing I want to stress the most, and it's kind of glazed over in just going over the entire information and history of this company, is just how bad they must have treated their employees. Guys, in the very short time of 2012 to 2020, that's only 8 years, they had over 26 employees not just quit or be fired, but come back and complain about how badly they were treated. This wasn't a one-time person thing with a company of 1,000 people. This was a small company that hired probably only a group of about 30 to 40 people at a time. And 26, more than half of the entire staff, couldn't stand working with these guys. They sound like total creeps. One video I could not find, and I searched forever, I remember reading about this in the past, was that one of the workers at their business, who was a person of color, constantly dealt with a stalker on her way to work every day and was really concerned about it and put in a complaint to management that the person had followed her into the building that they worked at multiple times. The staff did absolutely nothing, to the point that the person of color had to quit to secure their own safety. Later down the line, a white girl at the company dealt with the same problem with a different stalker. When she went to the company, she had her and another friend show up, and they showed her all these different resources and how they could help her and what they could do for her. And the first question both of them had was, why didn't you do this for the person of color who worked at our company just a year ago when she quit? And that's a great question. It really does seem like this is a clear contrast by how people are treated at this company, down to the very thumbnails they put in their videos. And that is just disgusting. These guys come out and they give these canned answers like, we are so sorry for how we have treated people in the past. Our blackface skits were very, very bad, and we do not want to discriminate. Like, anybody can come out here and do that, but I think your past speaks for itself. There are times where people are dumb, all right? They are idiots when they are teenagers and say racist stuff, dropping the N-word, dropping the R-word on Twitter, and being idiots. Guys, they made these blackface videos when they were 30-year-old men. They are now older than me, and the best that they can do is say, oops, sorry about that. Even when we were 30-year-old men doing Degrassi skits in blackface with Shane Dawson. There's just no excuse. I think these guys are pretty rotten to the core, and I think where their values lie into what can they get out of YouTube and what can they get out of their audience and what kind of money can they grub and put into their pocket, and who cares about really how anybody else is treated other than them and their company. It's pretty disgusting behavior, and the more and more I looked into it, it just did not look good. These guys are not good people. They've recently completely stepped away from FBE, and people have talked about like, oh, they don't even own the company anymore. Now it's owned by a CEO. Yeah, it's controlled by a CEO as far as business decisions are concerned and skits are concerned and what they hire and put out on YouTube. But these two guys are still the main owners of the company. It's not owned by the CEO. He's merely at the top. He's the chief executive officer making some executive choices, but not the actual owner of the company. These two not-so-fine brothers are still rotten to the core, controlling every bit of it. The only good news I have to present to you is their channel has fallen off hardcore. I mean, we're talking about a 32 million subscriber channel getting about 100,000 views, something I got on my Creepshow art videos, a couple months ago. I mean, that's pretty bad if you think about it. I'm a channel with 5K subs, and I'm getting the amount that 32 million subscriber channel is. So that's pretty crazy. I'm really glad to see that their stuff is falling off and that they're becoming a part of YouTube's past and not being part of YouTube's future. And guys, what do you think about these? What do you think about the time that they had the React World controversy? I was pretty sickened by this and realized right away, like, these are not good dudes. Like, they knew what they were doing. This wasn't some kind of like, welcome to the React family, let us take care of you. It was, let us reach into your pocket and take you for everything we can because we're angry you borrowed our idea that we borrowed from another person. It's just such a scumbag move. What do you guys think about that? And what do you think about the allegations of discrimination? I think it's pretty clear with how many people quit the company, how many complaints there were of people of color about this company and how racist and discriminatory they were, down to the point of their thumbnails, and even a bunch of people who quit. 26 people in less than 8 years quit the company because they were so sick of how badly they were treated. I think that shows quite well how bad the Fine brothers really are and how they're really not so fine and not so good and actually pretty bad. Until next time, guys, I have been the Inksmith, and I will talk to you again real soon.